Good day everyone, I am Rina Rose E. Fernandez from Bised 2A. So this video is about, or another discussion about non-digital and digital skills. And for today, we're going to focus to non-digital skills, conventional instructional materials. So, sorry for the noise. So now let's proceed to the definition of instructional materials. Instructional materials, also known as educational or learning materials. So these are the things that we can see inside the classroom, or it will used by the teachers or by the students. A collection of materials that teachers can use in educational and learning situations to achieve their desired learning goals. So it is a collection of materials wherein it is used by the teacher to show how a topic, what are the sequence of the topic, or it is used by the teacher to achieve the goal of the goal that he or she wants to get in his or her students, including biological and inanimate, human and inhuman resources. Next is represent alternative communication channels that teachers can use to convey more descriptive educational information to learners. So instructional materials represent their communication between teachers and students, how it works. So through instructional materials, it will used by the teacher to show the students in a what is the meaning or what is the gist of a certain topic. So that is for the communication channels. Students, instead of they will ask the teacher what is the definition of it, they rather see or look to the instructional materials that they can see inside their classroom. So represent a set of resources that can be used to expand the learner's field of surrogate experience in the context of education and learning. So what do we mean by surrogate? When we say surrogate, to put things in to another, it means it will expand through instructional materials. It can expand the knowledge of the students or even the skill of the students by the help of these materials. And the meaning of the surrogate experience here, the experience or the knowledge of the students, it can put it to another skills or to another information that can use by the students. And next is the let's proceed to the examples of non-digital instructional materials. So first is diorama. Diorama are small scenes created to build an exciting scenes created of layers of materials, all depicting a similar concept or theme. So this instructional materials is very popular in science subject, wherein science teacher use it to show how solar system works, like this one, what we can see in on our screen. So it is the diorama. Next is nature table. So nature table, from the word itself, nature, it is relevant to our current season, or a table that contains things that is related to a seasons. Okay, so like here in the Philippines, we have two types of season, these are the wet and dry seasons. So these instructional materials, it help the teacher to design the classroom or to give any creative knowledge to the students. Next is flip chart. So flip chart is very in demand to the elementary teachers. They use it to develop the reading skills of the students. They put a lot of words here, or even pictures here. It's up to the teacher if how they use this flip chart examples or instructional materials. Next is zigzag board. So it called a zigzag because, as you can see, it is a zigzag. It is in a zigzag way. So It is used by the school to, these instructional materials used by the school to show any announcement to the students that they need to know. Okay, so the fifth one or the last instructional materials for this topic is wall display. So this wall display is very popular to all classroom or to all level of the students. Wall display, a collection of many types of items and materials put up on a wall to make an interesting and informative display. So, like for example, a part of speech. So, an English teacher used it to show how or what is the definition of noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, and so on and so forth. And through wall display, it can show the students or what are the examples of it or what are the other information that is related to a certain topic. Okay, so that's all for the instructional materials or non-conventional digital instructional materials. So for the guidelines when designing conventional instructional materials, it will discuss by the second speaker.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fernandez. Let's now have the guidelines we must follow when designing conventional instructional materials. And as we go on discussing the 6 guidelines, you can notice that we could apply these guidelines when designing digital instructional materials, particularly slide presentation, such as PowerPoint presentation. So the 6 guidelines that we must follow in designing instructional materials are as follows: unity, simplicity, legibility, consistency, clarity, and quality. So let's have the first in the guideline. So the idea of unity is to have one idea or topic for each visual aid. Avoid using one visual aid for multiple topics unless your topic is something like the part of speech or figurative language. Another thing that you must remember to achieve unity in your instructional materials is to include a headline. So the headline will consist or will contain the topic or the title of the topic you are trying to present in your visual aids, like the part of speech, noun, adjective, order, and the likes. Let's have the second in the guideline, which is simplicity. As the term suggests, your instructional materials have to be simple. Simple because the more simple your instructional material is, the easier it is for students to understand the content. Particularly, what you have to do to achieve simplicity in your instructional materials is to present ideas and its relationship as simple as you can. So, 2 things you must remember to achieve simplicity is to avoid cluttering your visual aid or a visual with too many words, numbers, or graphics. Second thing is to make it as simple as you can, to the point that in a way that the learner could understand the content you are trying to represent in your visual aid within 10 to 15 seconds of observing your visual aid. Let's have the third on the guidelines, the legibility. So the idea of legibility is to make letters big and readable for all the audience or for all your learners, regardless of their position in the seating arrangement, at the back row, at the left corner, or at the right corner. So legibility can also be applied in your graphics or the graphics that you use in your instructional materials. Make it big and readable. Number 4, consistency. So consistency is talking about your unity or the unity of the design you use in your instructional materials, particularly the type style and the art style. One thing you have to remember to achieve consistency is to use the same type style and art style when designing. Let's have the 5th one, which is the clarity. So clarity is talking about the image and the letters that you use in your instructional materials. To achieve clarity in your instructional materials, you have to remember these two things. Avoid type that is too small to read. The second one is to avoid all caps or all capital letter or all uppercase letter in your headline or in any part of your instructional materials. Let's have the last in the guidelines, quality. So this talk about the content and the design of your instructional materials. It has to be neat and professionally presented. So how do we achieve professional presentation of the topic in your instructional materials? Number one, there is no grammatical error, and the visuals or graphics that you use is relevant to the topic. So what you need to do to achieve quality is to follow the first 5 guidelines when designing conventional instructional materials and to proofread your finished product. That's it for guidelines when designing instructional materials. Again, we have 6 guidelines to follow when designing conventional instructional materials. Number 1 is unity. Number 2, simplicity. Third is legibility. Fourth, consistency. Fifth, clarity. And the last one is the quality. So to summarize what is discussed in this video, we talk about instructional materials. It is also known as educational or learning materials. It is a collection of materials that teachers can use in educational and learning situation to achieve their desired learning goals, including biological and inanimate, human and inhuman resources. It represents alternative communication channels that teachers can use to convey more descriptive educational information to learners. So non-digital instructional materials are the traditional instructional materials. It is also known as conventional instructional materials. Some examples of non-digital instructional materials are diorama, nature table, flip chart, zigzag board, and wall display. Guidelines that we must follow when designing conventional instructional materials that can be also applied in digital instructional materials such as PowerPoint presentation includes unity, simplicity, legibility, consistency, clarity, and quality. That's it for this video. This has been your EdTech teachers. This video is prepared by yours truly, Miss Jessica Marie Sigapiri, together with Miss Serena Rose E. Fernandez. Thank you for watching.